Hello, good morning, welcome back. I thought it would be fun to do a little bit more of a sit-down video. I read so many books in, October? Because I started working night shifts and had a little bit more free time in my life because I'm sleeping so much less. Before we start this video, one, we're gonna ignore everything in my background because I'm still moving in and things are everywhere, as you can see. And then two, I have a kitten. This is Toby. So if you hear weird sounds in the background, it's not me. Okay, without further ado, let's begin. I did read all of these on my Kindle. I'm gonna pull out my computer so that I can consult Goodreads as well as my Kindle. Got my Kindle. First book I read was Forget Me Not by Julie Soto, and Goodreads rated it a 3.99. I originally rated it a 4, although I probably would go back and rate it closer to like a 3.5, 3.75. It's a Grumpy Sunshine book, and the guy, Elliot, is a florist, and the girl, Amma, I think it's Amma, is a wedding planner. It's a second chance romance. They are having to collaborate on a wedding in the present because their clients wanted to work with both of them, and it's like a celebrity wedding. Amma's old boss kind of meddles in it the whole time, and Elliot does not like this woman at all. So he's super protective and he's helping her with all of the stuff that she needs, even though they broke up and there's like a ton of animosity there. So it was good. I have not thought about it since. I did just have to look up the plot, so I don't know what that tells you. I also am not a huge romance book person. Like, I am more of fantasy, mystery kind of books. So this was a month of romance books to try to get myself out of this slump. Take it with a grain of salt. Probably not the best person for romance recommendations. Then the second book I read is called The Kiss of Deception. It's part of the Remnant Chronicles. I think it's a 3-book series. It follows the story of a princess named Leah, who is a first daughter. I guess they are supposed to have the gift of sight, and because she's a princess, she's supposed to be married to the prince of a neighboring kingdom, and she knows nothing about this prince. She's never seen him, and she obviously does not want to go through with this wedding. And so her and her friend, they flee into a neighboring kingdom, and Leah decides that she wants to just be like the most normal person she can be. So they get hired at, it's like a bed and breakfast, and they also have a restaurant, and she starts working there with her friend. But the prince that she's supposed to marry, as well as an assassin, also both are trying to find her and go after her. Eventually both of them find her. You don't know who is who the whole book. It's like talking from, I think it's Leah's point of view, the prince, and the assassin's point of view, and it switches back and forth, so you don't actually ever know who the prince and who the assassin is. And they try to kill her multiple times, or somebody tries to kill her multiple times. Basically, at the end of the book, she decides that maybe there's some stuff in her past that she needs to revisit, and she never discovers who the prince is. That's where it ends. And then there's 2 more books, I assume, where she figures it out. It was good. I did rate this one a 4. I am going to stick with that because I did enjoy it. Goodreads said 3.93. So take that with a grain of salt. I am waiting for the second one on Libby, so we'll see if I continue beyond that. The ratings get higher throughout the other books. The other ones are like 4.17. So if I liked the first one better than Goodreads, it's probably a good sign. Then we hit my first DNF of the month. I wanted a smutty book. Like, I was trying to palate cleanse after the fantasy book. I kept seeing reviews on TikTok for this book, so decided to just go for it. And that was Priest by Simone Sierra. Hello.
Hey.
How are you? It is definitely about to storm here, so we might get some thunder and lightning. So this book is quite literally what it sounds like. Even I can like look past things. I was a fan of Ice Planet Barbarians. Like, I don't have much of a bar for smutty books, but I just did not really love this one. Basically about a priest who, you know, they have their vow of whatever it's called, I don't know. And then this woman who shows up for a confession, and she's a dancer, and she's talking about this thing that she regrets, and she's like just moved there or something, and he like falls in love with her voice. Like he is like head over heels for this woman's voice. Comes back again, things happen, he breaks his vow of, I don't know what it's actually called. You can figure out what happens the rest of the book. Basically just smut, but like celibacy. That's what the word is. Breaks his vow of celibacy. Anyway, I didn't finish it. I think I got through like 60%, and I was like, I'm like struggling. Like, I'm skipping through pages. This is ridiculous. I'm not reading it for any kind of plot. I should not be skipping through. Then I read Ledge by Stacey McEwen, I think. And it's part of the Glacian trilogy. I rated this, oh my gosh. The cat is sitting right next to the phone. He's about to block it. There's something outside he wants. I rated this a 3-star. I would probably stick with exactly 3, maybe a 3.5. Goodreads has it as a 3.72. I was not attached to the characters at all for this, and there are 2 other books. I did finish this book, so it wasn't a DNF, but it was a struggle. It's basically about this human named Dawson. Her entire village lives on a ledge, and Dawson is the only remaining member of her family. They don't know anything outside of their town except for this species called the Glacians. Once a year, once every 4 years, everybody in her town has to line up outside of their houses, and 1 or 2 people are grabbed by these creatures' claws and taken. So she's picked, and they take her to this other world, and this half Glacian named Ryan offers to help her escape. So it's basically the story about their escape, and I won't read past this, but it was good. Like, the plot was good. It's dragging. It didn't grab me and make me want to read more. I wanted to know what happened, but the writing I didn't think was very good. Okay, now for the exciting stuff. This is where we get into the romance portion of this month. So I started to just read all of the TikTok suggestions, basically. Every time I saw like a TikTok or like a YouTube romance book suggestion, I put it on hold on Libby. So the first one that I read was Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, and it's part of the Boys of Tommen series. I'm pretty sure that there is a Amazon Prime TV show. Haven't watched that because I haven't finished the series, and I just figured it was time to try to read it. I've only read the first one so far. I am going to continue the series. I rated it like a 3.75. I would probably go up more towards a 4 now. It definitely hooked me. It's definitely like a young adult book. It definitely reads like kind of a Wattpad-y book. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's about this guy named Johnny Kavanaugh and this girl named Shannon Lynch. And Shannon's had like super bad bullying in the past at every school she's gone to. And so her family puts her into this private school. And on her first day, Johnny, he's a rugby player, he hits her on the head with a ball and gives her a concussion. Basically, Johnny has like everything going for him. He plays at like a junior academy that's basically sending him into the pros, is kind of my interpretation of it. And she has like nothing going for her. She's been bullied at every other school, and she's going to this new school to have a fresh start. So day 1 does not go well for her. She kind of develops feelings for him, but she's like trying to keep a low profile because this guy's not low profile. And he likes her a lot, but he's like avoiding her because of everything that's happened in the past. Whatever. Yeah, so the whole series, I guess, follows through this boarding school and this team of rugby players and this girl. I'm sorry, he's attacking me so much. So that was the first Boys of Tommen book, and I have not read beyond that yet because I'm waiting for them on Libby. And then I read 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and I rated it a 4. It was like almost 5 stars. Like, I thought this was such a cute book. I immediately texted one of my group chats and was like, you have to read this, it's so cute. Like, this is what got me out of the slump for the month and made me like want to read something every single week. It's basically about this girl who moves into her aunt's apartment. Her name is Clementine. Basically, she grew up with her aunt always telling her that this apartment is magic, and she kind of, you know, writes it off. Well, she's been living there for a while, and then one day she discovers this guy just standing in her kitchen, and she's like, what are you doing here? And this guy gives her a message that says that her aunt gave him permission to stay there for the summer while he's like in between school or something. I don't remember actually. But then she finds out that he actually is existing 7 years in the past, and she can't control when the apartment sends her back and forth. She can't control like how long she stays there because she's going into her past and meeting this guy 7 years in the past, but she's still in the present. It's like kind of like a past present book. I don't know if that makes sense, but she's like navigating what's going on in her life and still kind of navigating her aunt's death. It's really good. I like absolutely loved this book. I saw everybody talking about it on YouTube, and I just decided to just pull the trigger and just go for it. That was totally worth it. I'm very, very glad that I read that. Then after that, I had been seeing a lot about the Part of Your World series by Abby Jimenez, and I don't believe that I've read any Abby Jimenez books. So this was the first one. I rated this one a 4-star. All of her books for me are like tracking to be 5 stars. They're so good. I'm like, this is amazing. I love the plot of this. This is such a cute little romance series. And then it's like third act breakup or something at the end is like just throws me off from giving it a higher rating again. Ooh, gross. That's what happened with all of these books this month. Part of Your World, the first one, is about this girl named Alexis Montgomery. She is an ER doctor, and she comes from like a super hotshot rich family of doctors, and she's supposed to follow in her dad's footsteps and be, I don't know, some like chief medical doctor in the ER. Her car like breaks down on the side of the road, and this guy comes to help her. She spends the night like in this hillbilly kind of town. It's 2 hours away from her house, and she like kind of falls in love with this guy. She's supposed to take over this like big role as a doctor, and he's like a farmer or something in this town. And so the whole book is kind of like her fighting her family legacy that she's supposed to fulfill, but also like really liking this guy in a completely different environment than she's in. So that was that book. It was really good. I wanted to give it a 3-star, or I wanted to give it a 5-star so bad, but the third act breakup in books just, I get that you have to make the plot, like make something happen, but it pisses me off so much. The next one I read was Kingdom of the Wicked, and I've seen this everywhere, all over TikTok, by Carrie Maniscalco, something like that. And I rated the first one 3 stars. I wish that I could do half ratings again because it would be higher, but it just wasn't quite 4 stars for me. This whole series follows the princes of hell, and each prince of hell is one of the 7 deadly sins. So the first one is wrath, and it follows this girl and her twin sister Vittoria. I think it's Vittoria, not Victoria. One night Vittoria misses dinner, and so Amelia goes to find her and finds her dead body. He's trying to follow through the past like month of her twin's life to try to figure out what happened. That's kind of all I can say about that. But she's been warned against interacting with princes of hell, and there's also like this prophecy that's going on at the same time, and things are being kind of fulfilled, and she's like trying to figure out how this prophecy has to do with her past, and things have been hidden from her and her twin. And yeah, it kind of sets the scene for the rest of the series. I feel like the first books are always like not that great. So that was the first one, and then I went right into the second book, rated this 4 stars. And the second one is called Kingdom of the Cursed. I'm trying to figure out how to talk about this without giving up like too much of the plot, but basically she is still kind of trying to figure out what happened to her twin, and she has made a lot of deals with different people throughout the first book, and so she's kind of got herself in a bit of a pickle in the second book, and she knows that she's not allowed to trust any of the people that she is making acquaintances with, but she needs to find out new information about what happened to her twin. Also, I forgot to say, this whole family is witches, so she's like learning more about her magic and what she's capable and how powerful she is. It was really good. I will keep reading through the series, definitely. Then the next book I read was Kingdom of the Feared, and that is the third book in that series. This time there's somebody in House Greed that's assassinated. Basically, they're trying to figure out who assassinated this person, and so Amelia and Wrath are having to work together and try to figure out information while also protecting their court. Yeah. I rated it a 3. Goodreads gave it a 3.86. Then I went on to read Throne of the Fallen by the same author, and this is the first book in the Prince of Sin series. I rated it a 3. Goodreads gave it a 4. If I remember correctly, there was not like a third act breakup, but there was something like at the end of the book that I just did not like the way that she did, and so it immediately bumped down a star. But this one follows the Prince of Envy. He finds himself part of this game that gives like super cryptic notes. There's like a game master that controls all of these different people, and all of the clues and things that the players are doing are kind of benefiting the game master in the end. So he's like moving around all of these pieces for what he wants. Envy has to go get this painting done by this woman who refuses to do paintings of what they call hexed objects. But basically Envy, really high stakes, something's going on with his court. He has to win this game to make sure that his court stays in one piece, because it ends up affecting everybody else in the underworld if his court falls. And so Camilla, the main girl, has to enter like a bargain with Envy because there's something going on in her life that she needs him for. You get the gist. So it was good. Also going to continue this series, but I wish I remembered what made me rate it a 3 and not a 4, because everybody else seemed to really like it, but whatever. And then we have 2 more. The next one was The Paradise Problem, and I rated this a 4. Goodreads has it at a 4.11, and it's by Christina Lauren, and it's about this woman named Anna Green who married this guy named Weston in college for something about housing. They both needed to like live in university housing or something and needed to get married for that. I'm not sure, but they supposedly divorced, but that didn't happen. And so this is set like 5 years after that, and West needs her to go on a vacation with her West needs her to go on a vacation with his family, and she hasn't seen this guy in 5 years. He has told his family that she's like going to medical school and doing all of this stuff, and she's like just been fired as a cashier at a grocery store, something like that. And his family is like billionaires. And so they go to this super, super extravagant vacation, and she's like pretending she's somebody she isn't. And they're also pretending they've been married this entire time. Yeah, but like at the same time, they're like kind of falling in love, and they're already married, and it's really cute. I actually really did like this story a lot. I didn't love the like super toxic family trope, but it was good payoff in the end. I definitely would read a follow-up book if I had one, but. And then the most recent book that I read was the second book in Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and this one's called Yours Truly. It follows, again, a doctor named Brianna Ortiz, and she also works in the ER. She just had a divorce that was finalized, and her brother is on dialysis and needs a kidney donor. So she's like taking care of him, and also her life is like falling apart at the same time, and she's super high up in the ER, and this new doctor comes to work there, and everybody hates him right off the bat. He seems super standoffish. He's like kind of mean. One of the days that they're working together, something happens and she like chews his head off, and he realizes that everybody sees him like way differently than he actually is. And so he sits down and writes her a letter and basically explains like what's going on like in his brain, and he has super, super bad anxiety, and it's easier for him to write the letter. So they start sending letters back and forth, and he is like the sweetest guy. Like, I absolutely loved him. He's like a super, super good doctor. He's funny. Everybody loves him. He has an amazing family. Like, wouldn't hurt a fly. Sweetheart. I thought the first like 60-70% of this book was so good. Like, I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be 5-star. I have not had a 5-star book in so long. And then the third act breakup comes for you, and it just bumps the book down so far. And it was like to the point where I almost just wanted to stop reading. Like, it just, if that doesn't bug you, this is an amazing book, and I wish that it had just like continued on the up of what it was before. But it was good. I will definitely read the third book. I'm sure it'll have a third act breakup that's gonna throw me off, but they're good enough for it to be a 5-star book, and then something goes downhill. So that's it for the books that I read this month. I do have a couple books on my TBR. That is it, I think. I don't know what I will get to. I feel like whenever I do a TBR, I never actually get to what I planned on reading, so who knows? This could be the stack for the end of 2024. I don't think I have anything else for you guys, but I know this is like the most informal, formal video ever. If you stayed this long, thank you. And I apologize for how not well I was doing those summaries. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. I don't know when that is. Bye-bye.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain.